American fort. American fort. American fort. American fort.
Welcome to the American Fort podcast. We are fixing America, one dad joke at a time,
One dirty conversation at a time.
one stupid argument at a time,
One biased right-wing episode at a time.
one QAnon infused spiritual experience at a time.
One echo chamber at a time.
There you go.
That's it.
I love it. I love it. So if you want to know more about us, who we are, and what we do, check out our website, AmericanForked.com, and also give us some money on Patreon. If you like to hear people argue about your favorite political topic, then you can support us there, where that money goes directly into our pockets. And actually, we use it mostly to get the word out and tell other people.
We really only use it for the show. We don't buy my fried chicken sandwiches for it.
Yeah, we can't afford a fried chicken sandwich.
I did notice you have new Gucci shoes, though, Jake. Those are nice.
Yeah, I decided that I'm going to start dressing really well.
Why does it say brought to you by American Forked Podcast on them?
I didn't think that you were going to mention that on the show, but just because.
Okay.
Sounds good to me. So we were born and raised, well, a lot of us were raised, I guess, in American Fork, Utah. So we like to throw back to some local news to our dear old town. And apparently the high school team has won some kind of tournament thing.
That's awesome.
The 6A crown. What does that mean, Jake?
That's
Sports
so cool.
correspondent.
It means the American Fork Boys High School basketball team is the best in 6A division.
What does that mean?
High school.
What's a 6A division?
That's the division of, it's based on the amount of students at the school.
Is that like the whole state? Is that the whole United States?
I think it was a 3A when we were there.
Oh, so they're a big school now.
It's huge now.
Yeah.
So does this have anything to do with AAA, the road service?
Nope.
Okay.
Nope. It's not 6As.
So
It's a level 6A school.
So the AAA crown, is that statewide? Or is it nationwide?
I'm pretty sure
Or is it like
it's-
Utah County wide?
it's definitely either state or national, but usually sports like that are state-based.
Well, good job, American Fork High School, for winning sports.
I have a really serious question, though.
What?
If 6A was a karate belt, what color would it be? Is that how you judge
No.
6A? No?
Nope.
Okay, let's go to the next story then.
A karate belt?
Is it a black belt? That's what I'm wondering.
6A would be like the material that it's made out of.
Okay.
So,
It doesn't matter the color of the belt.
Now we're getting into sewing. Just go to the next story.
so stretching out a little bit, Utah County, which Utah County is the county where American Fork resides, in case you live in some different place and don't know about Utah. And everyone's mad at the prosecutor there because he's too soft on crime. So they're getting mad at him. You guys haven't heard anything about this?
I don't know anything about this.
Next story.
This episode is going to be 32 minutes long.
Phil was hoping that just by the headlines we would know the stories. And
Well, I'll tell you what my initial reaction was. Is I'm like, my information of Utah County is about 20 years old, but you guys both still live there, and I'm like, cool. So he doesn't prosecute like kids that took from the bulk bins at like the grocery store.
I
Like,
think,
what's going on down there that's so serious that they need prosecution?
I think that's the idea, but people are like mad because crime is going up or something. I don't know.
Like, not just Laffy Taffies, it's now king size Snickers and stuff.
Yeah,
Getting stolen.
I normally put myself a little like linky link to click on, and I didn't on that story, so I have no further details other than everyone's mad at the prosecutor.
I'm not mad. That's what I'm
because
saying.
he's too forgiving.
Too forgiving, I guess. Yeah, too soft on
He
crime.
needs to be,
They want him to prosecute more.
put them people in jail.
Yeah. get everyone in jail, and then they'll all get COVID, and then everything will be good.
And then the prosecutor will be heralded as the greatest prosecutor ever.
There you go. So this story sucks.
Is it a vacuum story?
Do you remember how that officer hit that car and killed that college student in Provo? We talked about it a while back.
Yeah, a couple months.
It was,
2 months ago.
It was, like on 900 East, kind of by the creamery.
Yeah.
You don't remember?
Oh, I said yeah. Did I not sound confident?
No.
Let me try that again. Yeah.
Anyway, they've decided. So the story was there was a call in Pleasant Grove. There was that big shootout by Jake's house. Remember?
Okay, I remember that. 'cause I was worried.
There
for
was a
Jake.
call for it, and this officer in Provo was
Oh, yes.
responding to it,
Yep.
and he hit this person and killed him.
But in their car. I was thinking
Yeah.
pedestrian accident.
No, yeah.
He got in a car accident. The police officer versus another car. They ran into each and then the kid died.
Right. And the kid died.
That sucks.
And now they've decided to charge the officer with manslaughter. So
But wait, this is the same prosecutor
Yeah,
you're just
this-
saying who wasn't
This
charging
must be
for
a different prosecutor.
stealing Snickers.
it must be. I don't know if it's a county thing or a Provo thing or how that
Seemed
works.
like it would be county. It was a Utah County officer. It was a cross city line thing.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, Utah County's attorney's office. So I guess he is getting tough. I think what it is they think this prosecutor is like more liberal. That's why he's like letting lower crimes off, but maybe going after
police officers.
Maybe that's what they're.
Well, there's probably more uproar too when police officers do things. It's in a public light and whatnot.
Yeah, it's weird though because they're like, oh yeah, we're charging him because he sped up. I guess they read the vehicle computer or whatever. And
Yeah, AAA does that.
and they're like,
6A schools.
they're like
I
right.
remember
They said before the accident he was going like, and I don't know these numbers exactly, but they were like, he was going like 55 miles an hour in a 35. And he sped up to like 57 right before
No.
he slowed down to 35 before, and that's how fast he impacted.
He
was
probably
35.
saw a cop. Because I know when I go from 55 to 35, right, it's usually because I see a police officer.
Maybe, but I guess the officer told a responding officer, I shouldn't have tried to beat him, meaning like he tried to speed up to get past him before he pulled out,
Yeah.
and that's why they're charging him. But I'm like, so wait, he sped up 2 miles an hour, and that's why that seems weird to me. It's also weird because I would go to that Taco Bell that this kid pulled out of. I've been there before. And there's a huge bush there. You could not see oncoming traffic. You had to like creep out there. So I don't know why they're not. And they tore it out right after that happened. So it's like,
They should prosecute the bush.
yeah, that's
Did they-
what I'm thinking.
Did they transplant the bush to somewhere else so that it could
Okay,
live
now we're
a
talking about
wholesome-
concentration camps.
So no, the bush.
it's not.
Transplanting
It's
it.
not the bush's fault. You can't just segregate bushes and put them in jail.
Right. So you got to keep the bush alive by transplanting it to another safe
Okay.
location where it can live a wholesome life.
You are basically Hitler right now.
Did they
Of
just
the plant industry.
did they just throw it at the dump?
Probably.
Ew. Why'd you guys start talking about a bush?
You brought it up.
Anyway, so that makes a
You know,
that makes a sad story even worse, I think. Like
it does.
it's like
Manslaughter is like you intentionally killed somebody.
no,
No.
I think it's you unintentionally.
That's
like it was an
murder.
Oh, that's-
accident.
The premeditated murder.
Like if you
Or
text,
murder?
if you text and drive and kill someone, that's
Oh,
manslaughter.
Okay, so it
But
could
it's
be
like-
accidental.
But it might be
Yeah.
like negligent manslaughter.
Involuntary manslaughter, I
Yeah.
think, is one of the
Oh,
technical
right.
terms.
Yeah.
But it is weird. They have like murder, manslaughter, and then they have like degrees of those. You know, it's like
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's like kingdoms of heaven, basically.
Yeah, and I guess
I think, anyway.
I guess technically they're saying like
Celestial manslaughter.
Oh God,
Celestial
you
manslaughter.
you said it, not me. Sorry, Phil. This
I-
is bad.
I guess technically he killed him, right? I mean, we can't blame anyone else for
Yeah.
killing the
Right.
guy. So
So there should be some recourse.
Yeah, I don't
Maybe,
know,
right?
but should he be going to prison over it? I mean, he was responding. They said he was off duty, but he's responding to a call. I don't know. It's weird.
Here's the
Why
weird
would a
thing.
Provo police officer be responding
I thought
to a
that
Pleasant
too,
Grove
and
call?
why was he
All-
heading south on the road, which is away from Pleasant Grove, unless he was headed to Center Street to take Center Street up, which I do
That's-
sometimes
that's
because it's a
probable.
bit faster.
Here's what I think. I think that the bottom line on this stuff is like, and I'm talking this story, the police officers killing and doing things. There's protocols that occur in police activity. You do, if this happens, then you can do that. If that happens, then you can do this. If this happens, that is almost more important than anything else.
Yeah,
Following
Because
the protocol.
right, following the department protocol is more important than anything, because once police officers step outside of that, that's when they can personally be prosecuted. And apparently, whatever protocol was broken, the police department doesn't have this guy's back, right? For something.
right. Well,
Because he
and
went 2 miles an hour faster.
Yeah.
and see, you say that though, but that Derek Chauvin case where he
Uh-huh.
knelt on that guy's back, they
Derek
went
Chauvin. Oh,
Yeah, he was the cop that killed
What?
George Floyd.
oh, who was the guy that shot people at the BLM riot? Rittenhouse.
Kyle
Okay.
Rittenhouse.
Never mind. Sorry, I got those two
Oh,
mixed up. I was
nope.
like, what?
No, Derek Chauvin.
Yeah.
Derek Chauvin
in that
house.
case, they came in and showed that kneeling on someone's back was part of protocol.
Right.
They said he knelt a little too high on his neck,
Right.
and other officers came in and testified. Yeah, I've knelt on people dozens of times. Like,
Yeah. They just weren't on fentanyl.
right.
Oh wait, that's controversial.
And they didn't have COVID.
So that's a weird thing. You're right.
We're
If they
racist.
follow protocol, they should be safe. But
Right. Yeah.
it's all a matter of convincing a jury that
Yeah.
this person did this or that, or I don't know.
That's-
It's a crappy time to be a cop, I think.
I know.
Like,
I mean, I don't know, but I kind of know. Conceptually, I understand.
do you understand what
I'm
I'm
not
saying?
a cop, is what I'm saying.
Here's a story that the Jake will be happy about.
Oh,
Ooh, is
right.
it about chicken?
They have the great state of Utah has lowered their
Chicken prices.
standard
For chicken.
for
Fried chicken.
window tinting
Oh,
by
hey.
by
yeah.
5%.
Yeah.
Huh.
So apparently, whatever little meter they stick on your window, they can dial that down 5% now.
Wow.
So your windows can be a little bit darker, which should make your life a little bit brighter, knowing you won't get a ticket.
And there's also a 5% buffer. So you won't be ticketed if it's within 5% lower.
Oh, that's right. Yep. So
So it was 40, I think. Now it's 35,
yeah,
which means you're letting in 35% of the light, so it's darker. The low
Right.
number's darker. And you can be as low as 30 and not get ticketed.
yeah. And what's the benefit of tinted windows? Is it like keep the heat out of your car?
Yeah.
Can't be racially profiled, yeah.
Oh, there you go.
No, I have a minivan,
Uh-huh.
and I tinted the windows because it's hot in the summertime.
Mhm.
If you let all that light in and all those greenhouse
Gases.
Is it the greenhouse effect, where light comes in, but then the heat and it heats things up,
Yeah.
and then the
Yeah.
heat has nowhere to
The
go.
heat
Yeah.
stays.
It's miserable.
Yeah.
And there's something for me too about having a child like in your car seat in the back of your vehicle and like being able to be private. Like if he's throwing a tantrum, I don't want everyone to know.
You don't want everyone to know when you crawl back there while your wife's driving and hit him.
What?
I didn't say that.
What? Click.
Yeah, for me, yes. In the summertime, when I had my 5% tint on my windows, you could get, and the interior's dark, the upholstery and everything is dark. You could get in the middle of the summer and not have to crank the AC right away.
Oh, really?
Right.
Oh yeah, it's
that big a difference, huh?
Dramatically different
Yeah.
when your windows are tinted.
Have you ever been outside?
Yeah.
Just follow my line of questioning.
Okay.
Have
I
you ever-
get it.
Have you ever been in the sun?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Have you ever had some sort of shady structure between you and the sun?
Yeah.
Similar.
I get it.
Similar to that.
Okay, I
Okay.
get it. You know what's interesting though is when you're in a humid place, that
Uh-huh.
doesn't matter.
Oh, I can see that.
Like you're in the sun, you're in the shade, it all feels
Mm-hmm.
the same for some reason. But when it's dry, like in Utah, it can be a huge swing to step under
Oh,
a tree
yeah.
or something like that.
And that's why I love the dry heat. I don't mind dry heat, dry cold, all that stuff. But anywhere I've gone, it's been like I went to South Carolina, and I woke up in the morning and it wasn't that cold temperature wise, but because of the humidity, I was like, I need a coat.
Mhm.
I think it was like in the 40s or something like that.
Yeah.
50s, like right in the morning, but sun's barely come up. 40 or 50 degrees, I was like, I need a coat. And if it was 40, 50 degrees in Utah, I'd just be like, maybe a long sleeve shirt or something, maybe.
Yeah.
But it's way different.
Well, thank you, Utah, for letting us drive more legally. And by us, I mean Jake. And Jeff.
Yeah.
But not me, because I like to see out my windows.
He likes people to see his kids screaming in the back.
Yep.
Yeah, one of the reasons why they did it to 35 is to be closer to the surrounding states. Because a lot of cars that people buy, like my excuse was legitimate. I bought the car from someone who obtained the car from out of state, where they must not have had a window tint law. And so my window tints, 5% were fine where the car was from. But I got it, and within a month I got pulled over twice.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and so
Because they look wicked dark.
they were wicked Dak.
But it doesn't matter the back windows, right?
No,
It'd be limo
yeah,
tint.
the front windows and windshield obviously can't be tinted. The front side windows, you have to have
Yeah.
a legal tint. The back can be as dark as you want. But they did it so that they could match Nevada and Idaho, which have
Wicked Dak
wicked
cars.
dark cars. Yeah. so cars that are sold, in Utah from these other states, don't have to. People don't get reamed for it.
It has a real. I could see how it's a real concern for police officers, though, because
Yeah,
you can't tell
see.
what's going on inside
Yeah.
the car at all.
They
So
should-
your
they sh-
kid could have a gun pointed at him.
They should give them special glasses that are like those polarizing glasses that you look at fish with.
Oh yeah.
They do.
Oh,
Have you not seen the documentary RoboCop from the 80s?
oh that's right. They've had them for 30
For 30
years,
years.
now.
Yeah.
RoboCop. Do you remember that 80s movie Short Circuit?
Yeah.
With
Yeah.
that robot thing? I haven't seen that forever.
Hey, I have a story for you. Want
Do
to
ya?
hear it? Yeah.
Yeah.
So a lot of people might not know this, but one of the things that I do is I buy junk and I sell it on eBay. Okay.
Mhm.
So me and my daughter, and I love it because I can do things with my kids. And in this particular story, my dad was with me, and like we were having a fun. We made a day out of it. So we went to this estate sale, and this person had bins of VHS, cassette tapes, all kinds of stuff downstairs. So I go downstairs. I'm looking through the cassette tapes because, believe it or not, they're worth money. Looking for pop artists and certain country artists and certain things, right? And my dad and my daughter, I'm like, hey guys, go through these VHS tapes and find anything that's unopened, because VHS has a certain collectability now. People are sending them in to get PSA rated. You know what that is, when they rate the condition
Yeah.
of it.
Mhm.
Put it in plastic.
And they're worth thousands of dollars. They're doing it with video games. They're doing it with VHSs. They're doing it with all this stuff, right? So my daughter, and the beautiful thing is, if you're in the setting of like the DI or a thrift store, or if you're in the setting of an estate sale, VHSs are literal garbage. Like, nobody wants VHSs.
Yeah.
But if you put it on eBay, it's a different story.
Mhm.
So
You have a global audience.
yeah, so we have like 20 unopened, somewhat popular, at least familiar looking VHSs that my dad and my daughter pulled out. And I'm not joking. I think they sold us like the 20 of them for like $2 or something like that. It's just like, it's garbage. Just get rid of it. So we take them home. I'm starting to look them all up. I come across Short Circuit,
Yeah.
a specific print of Short Circuit, mind you. It's the original print, unopened,
Mm.
with a stamp on it that says something Fox Entertainment, whatever, right? I look it up. The thing sells for $1,000 all day long.
$1,000.
All day long, it sells for $1,000. So I put it on eBay, put it up on an auction, and I ended up getting like $750
Wow.
Wow.
for this VHS tape
Yeah.
of a frankly pretty stupid movie. So I think I sold it for $750, and the reason it sold for less is because I was kind of dumb. I noticed what these guys were doing. I looked at the sales history on that product, what they were doing, is that they would be the only one out there. But I put it up for sale when there was another one, and the other one sold for about $1,000.
Dang.
Mine sold for about $750 because it was competing.
Yeah.
But I noticed that everyone that was listing them, they'd wait for the auction to be over, and then they'd list theirs. Anyway,
That's
so,
crazy.
So essentially, they're the only one each time.
yeah. So Short Circuit, unopened. If you have one, look it up.
Give it to Jeff.
Give it to me.
It's not good though, the movie.
I haven't seen it since probably the mid-90s. So
Yeah, I haven't seen it forever. I thought I liked it though.
yeah, of course.
But would I like it now?
You should look up Mac and Me too. Do you remember that one?
Mm-mm.
Terrible movie.
You remember a movie called Norm the Gnome?
Nope.
Something like
That
that?
sounds made up.
The Short Circuit robot, the robot from Short Circuit is
Johnny Five.
was the theme of kind of the theme robot of Space Tours
Yeah,
at Disneyland.
that he looked
And
very
it's-
similar.
and
Yeah.
it's still there,
Mm-hmm.
even though it's a Star Wars themed
Oh, really?
right now. Yeah,
Oh, that's cool.
I bet you didn't think we were going to talk this much about Short Circuit.
I didn't.
when you
I
planned it.
actually was just going to be like, yeah,
RoboCop.
a movie, Short Circuit.
I saw a video the other day of I think someone made an actual Short Circuit robot. That
Yeah.
was interactive and
I'm sure.
Yeah, maybe.
Mhm.
I just remember like a laser came off his back and like shot things. I was
Yeah.
like, I want one of these, like a pet.
Yeah. Tank
a
tracks on
remote
its
control
legs.
one.
Yeah,
Yeah,
let's make one.
Made sounds like.
So moving on to national news, Texas is like going after transgender children. They're rounding them
Oh,
all up,
stupid
putting them in a cage
With the bush from
uh,
Taco Bell.
with those bushes.
transplanting
Oh my
them
God.
to
I guess.
a safer place.
So I guess the story is the governor said, we want the prosecutor to look into transgender reassignment surgery for kids to see if it actually is child abuse. And it just got held up in court, I guess. So there's a temporary stay on his order, but it's still going through the court process. So we talked about this a while back, like on our 10th episode or 11th or something. You guys remember that?
I would barely call those episodes, but yeah, I get it.
Those episodes that we did before. What do you think? Don't be scared. Just say what
do
you
we think
think.
about transgender or trans reassignment surgery being child abuse?
What do you think about the state of Texas prosecuting parents?
Ooh, choose me.
Okay,
Jeff,
choose it.
Okay,
Yes.
okay, I got this one. So, the first thing that came to mind when you're bringing this up is God bless America.
Yeah.
And here's what I mean. If you don't like that rule and you think that parents or children should be able to do whatever they want with their bodies or whatever, don't live in Texas.
Yeah.
I know this sounds a little oversimplified, but like we are individual states, right? And these individual states are very different from one another. But I believe that the best way to go about this is like, you know what? Let California do what they're going to do, that they can do within their own governments and their own state powers. Let Delaware do what they're going to do. Let Wyoming do what they're going to do. Let Utah do what they're going to do. Let Texas do what they're going to do. Now, I can understand an internal Texas uproar about this. It would make a lot of sense. But nationally, how many, like, people have this idea that, like, oh, if it's going to happen in California, it's going to bleed over into these other states. Or if they start doing this in Texas, then other states are going to jump on board.
Yeah.
Well, the best thing you can do is let Rhode Island do what Rhode Island's going to do, and you concentrate on your local thing,
Yeah.
right? And if you support this, then make damn sure that your state is moving in the direction of supporting that. And I know I've actually been accused of being racist for this comment, but if you don't like where you're living, move.
Yeah.
And literally the person told me that I was racist because I have white privilege and it's not just so easy to just move. And
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, fair enough, fine. But my point is, the second you start taking a victim stance of like, oh, look what Texas is doing to me, like, you pretty much lost the battle already.
Yeah.
Fight for something that you want. I don't even know if any of that made sense. But
I think it made sense.
that was my turn.
So you think all Texans that don't like the law should move?
Or at least change it from within, because I would bet you that it becomes a much bigger deal on a national scale. Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think it's coming for sure. Because that's what they're doing. They've taken it to court, and the court has put a stay on that order. I don't know. Well, go ahead, Jake. What were you going to
I was
say?
going to say, so vote.
Yeah,
Be
That's- yeah.
be someone who votes and who supports candidates who agree with your ideas.
I
see,
don't even know if I'm very convinced of that, to be honest with you. But
see, I do think
Well,
it's
that's one of the most grassroots things you can do.
right, that's true.
I wonder about this though. Like, because in my own opinion, this is a new thing.
It is.
Like everyone talks like, oh, the science is settled and blah blah blah. Scientists say this, but we haven't historically been reassigning physical gender of children.
Yeah, it's definitely.
I assume.
Right.
I'm not saying there's not some Greek statue somewhere of them stabbing a child to do whatever. I don't know.
Well, you know how many of those Greek statues penises fell off, right?
Oh, that's right.
A lot of them.
That's because it was.
It's the most fragile part of the body, Jake. So just give it up.
We're so what's the word?
Immature.
We're so sensitive about this sensitive topic. But anyway, they I don't know if sicking prosecutors on people is the way to go. Why don't they come together and make a law first?
Definitely
Is
not
it
Utah
against
County
the law
prosecutors.
to reassign your child's sex? And if it's not, then I wouldn't start investigating people for child abuse. But I kind of see where he's going with it.
I'm so
'Cause-
the wrong person to even ask these questions.
Why? Let's say Jake.
It's not
Is-
even in my realm
Is Jeff
of thought.
is
Like,
a woman.
if my kids,
No, listen.
what?
Jake comes in next podcast, and before we start, is like, guys, I got to tell you something.
Yeah.
I'm having my daughter's sex reassigned
Uh huh.
because she thinks she is a boy,
Uh huh.
and we support that.
Yeah.
And so we're taking her to the doctor next week to do that. And you just be like, cool.
You should move to another state.
You should move to
No.
Like, what would you say
Here's
to
the
Jake?
interesting thing. I would be like, got it. I would say I would have the exact same reaction if Jake came in next week and said, Jeff, me and my family are getting a family tattoo on our face.
Yeah,
I'd be like, that sounds like a bad decision, but I get it. Like, you do what you want to do, Jake.
yeah.
Because he does have the freedoms to do that kind of stuff.
So, and this,
But here's where it changes, okay? This is where it starts flipping on its head. Number one, it's not gender reassignment surgery. You know what they call it, right? Gender affirmation surgery, which is like you're affirming that, oh, yep,
so you're actually fixing what was already
You're
exactly. You're
validating.
validating and correcting it.
right.
That is insanity to me. It's like I was born with this set of tools
Right.
that God gave me, or whoever. Maybe I stole them. Anyways, I got the cock and balls is what I'm trying to get at. And I'm affirming that it should have been something else. Where there is now a pole, there should be a hole.
Yeah. A pole to a hole.
Yeah, I am now affirming that, oh, yep, it should have been a hole. That's
Yeah.
ridiculous.
Well, yeah. I mean,
But I also don't know. I've never had that struggle.
yeah, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a therapist, but the thing that jumps out to me that kind of freaks me out is if they were able to show, okay, look, we have these children who have this gender dysphoria, and once they have this surgery, their lives improve dramatically. But what we see is that the rate of suicide for
Mhm.
people in general, including kids who
Right.
have this surgery, goes up like eightfold or something like that, like 8 times more likely to commit suicide. And what they say is like, oh, that's because society is like not, because they tell their friends and their friends are weird about it, and then they feel bad and then they want to kill themselves.
Yeah.
But is that,
I don't know.
is that not kind of, I don't know, maybe not paying attention to what's going on? Like, I don't know.
When things get this confusing, and I don't just mean about gender and I mean political things or COVID or whatever. Hold on, sorry.
You just don't like to think about them? Oh, COVID
jar. When things get this confusing to me and you don't know what to believe and you hear it's scientifically proven, it's not scientific, I just go, what are my own personal observations with my own eyeballs? And I don't mean eyeballs on Facebook or eyeballs on a computer screen. I mean eyeballs with people that I know and have had conversations with and figured things out. And fortunately or unfortunately or whatever, however you want to look at it, I haven't been exposed a lot to this, but I have been exposed to it. And I'll tell you what, I worked with a guy who basically identified as a woman, and he was older. He was in like his 60s.
Yeah.
He finally got to a position in his life where he felt comfortable with it, and he started to do a transformation. The first thing he decided to do, granted, I want to make sure you understand, this guy is like a biker. He rode his motorcycle everywhere. He's like hardcore biker dude in his 60s, and he probably weighs 130 pounds, like little and like 6 foot tall, skinny dude. His first step for his transformation was to get massive boobs. And I will tell you right now, from the time he did that, I knew this guy for probably 7 or 8 years before he did that. From the time he did that to the time I left the company I was working for, he's a coworker of mine, he went way downhill.
Really?
Way downhill. And this is one dude, but guess what? This is the one thing that I've observed for myself, right? And that's so
this is your perspective.
it makes sense to me. He went from a guy who was kind of not sure of what was going on to a woman. He started going by a different name. It was a female name. And he started wearing what I would consider inappropriate clothing at work. He started being late for work. He started doing things on his personal time that was bothering him that he wasn't doing before, like hanging around with certain kinds of people that he wasn't. Long story short, he ended up getting fired from this place. And he had worked there before I started, he worked there for 10 years. He got fired over this stuff. Now, is it because the company didn't understand what he was going through that made his life miserable? Or society, like you're saying? Or was it truly that, and this is my opinion, because I watched this guy, he thought that getting these boobs and getting through this surgery would change him and make him happy. Once he had these boobs, he realized, I still have problems. They didn't solve anything.
Sure.
He didn't actually deal with anything within himself. It turned him into more of a sexual object, more of a whatever, right? Because that's what he did. I mean, he didn't get size B cups. He got like size double Ds. And like, I don't know. Like I said, it's not a great story, but it's the observations that I had with this guy.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, and yeah, I don't know why we don't look at the results of things when people do things, like, and we try to blame this like ethereal, like, well, it could be this other thing. Like, why not just look at the results? Now, if a person like the guy you worked with wants to go do that and they're an adult, it doesn't bother me at all.
Go for
If
it.
they want to go to the doctor and remove their arm or sew their eyes shut or any number of things. And I'm not trying, people are going to be like, oh, you're equivocating this beautiful surgery to like these horrible things. I'm not. I'm just saying that I think you're changing your body.
Essentially, they're the same thing.
And
Yeah, you want
it's
to.
your.
I'm sorry, I'm going to interrupt real quick. You want to think it's a beautiful thing? Anyone out there? Go Google that surgery and look it up on YouTube because it's a medical thing. They will show you a video. It's not the actual surgery. It's a graphic of what they do.
Yeah.
Then call into the show and tell me how beautiful it was to watch that video because it is not a freaking joke. It is insane what they do.
Is that really?
I'm going to show it to you guys after. Yeah. Blows my mind. Sorry.
And again,
sorry.
I don't like, there could be people listening, there are people out there that like this is really important to them in their life. I don't knock that. I support that actually. But for kids, I'm kind of worried about it. And I've said this before on the podcast. Like, and the two big reasons, the one are the suicide rate that I've talked about, and the other one is they say that most children who have gender dysphoria grow out of it by the time they become an adult. They revert back to their assigned quote unquote sex. And so if your 10-year-old, your 5-year-old, your whatever is like, I'm a boy when they're a girl or vice versa, I would think as a parent, your assumption is, oh, they're going to grow out of this. And even if they don't, you can support them and explain to them, like, when you become an adult, you can decide what you want to do about it. Yeah. But that's not, and so when the governor is sending the prosecutor out to see if this is child abuse, I'm not so sure he's not right. Maybe not in what he's doing, but the underlying idea, which maybe it could be. And I'm just saying it could be. Maybe I'm wrong. Apparently, like,
You're wrong.
the academies of pediatrics and all these big, like, doctor-y science associations are saying that this gender reassignment, affirmation, whatever, is a good thing and is healthy,
It's
healthy,
safe,
healthy for the children.
doesn't have a negative impact on the rest of their lives.
Yeah.
So I want to go on record too and just make sure my stance is there. I feel exactly like I think the same way that Phil is thinking about this, and that is simply that go do it. This guy I worked with, I didn't disagree with it at all. Go
Yeah.
for it, do it. If Jake came and said, I'm doing this with my family, we're getting tattoos on our faces, I'd be like, you know what? Go for it, buddy.
Yeah.
I don't think I would do it, but I get it.
But wouldn't you?
It's your life.
But wouldn't you be real though? Like, you would say you're doing what?
Well, it's a difference though. If it was Jake or you
Yeah.
or someone that I was really good friends with, absolutely, I would put my 2 cents in. But
I think it was, if it was even like a loose acquaintance and they were like, I'm tattooing all over my face, I'm like, oh, like I would react to that in like a, oh, interesting. Like, why? Or I don't know. Like, because it's pretty.
Try and guilt trip them. What was that?
Not guilt trip them, but maybe just let them have a little feedback that, like, maybe they've been in a total bubble in like their experience in their life, and
Yeah.
they're like, I'm going to do this thing. Like if someone was like, I'm going to go hike Mount Everest while smoking weed the whole time.
Right.
The whole time up the hill, I'm going to have a joint in my mouth while I'm hiking.
Mm-hmm.
Like, wouldn't you, even if you met a stranger, wouldn't you be like, oh, you're going to try what? Like, that sounds
My first reaction
interesting.
would be, has anyone else attempted that? Because that seems pretty amazing.
But yeah, you would kind of react, right? Because
I'm not saying I wouldn't
thing.
react. That would be
Right.
like if a car ran up to you and slammed on its brakes right before it hit you. Would you
Yeah.
flinch? It's like, well, yeah, I don't know, maybe. If it was Trent driving, I might not. If it was someone else, I might. But the scenario, what I'm saying is, I don't think I would outright say don't do it.
Yeah.
Or I would say, oh, that's interesting. Or I don't know. Obviously, there'd be reactions. I wouldn't be hammering someone. I'd probably give them my opinion and be like, if someone was going to eat a ghost pepper raw that's never eaten a jalapeno before, I'd probably be like, I don't think that's a good idea, but you're not going to die from it, so I just don't think it's a good idea.
Yeah, I don't know. But in this case, they could die from it. I mean,
I guess. I mean, you can die from any surgery.
Well, I'm talking more about the suicide
Oh,
that
well.
comes from this. But,
I've never observed that.
Yeah, I don't know.
But I will say that, again, to go on record, the point where I do not approve of it at all is when the state steps in, the federal government steps in, and let's say my child or the person that supposedly I have custody of, like, has these things, like they can now attack me and take the child away because I'm not giving them proper treatment or something like that. That's where I start having a serious problem with it.
Yeah.
It's the same thing of like, if you want to smoke weed, I get it. I don't support it. I think it's not great. But guess what? If you do, what am I going to do about it? Follow you around and spray a fire extinguisher in your face or take the batteries out of your vape thing every time you want to go smoke it. No, I'm
Yeah.
not going to do that. I'll say my piece, and then when you got to let people live their lives, you know, and by having the federal government or the state government step in, you're no longer just letting them live their lives. You're dictating what has to happen.
Yeah, and I agree with that, and I come back to that. Like, I don't think this is the best method. I don't think just starting to prosecute parents is the best. They need to have clear laws in place, and maybe they do, and they're just not unhappy with them. That's one thing, but
I think the blame goes on the surgeons too. I don't get that. What doctor could ethically say, yes, I'm going to change somebody that is healthy physically? Because and this is, again, is my opinion on it, it seems more like a mental condition than a physical condition.
yeah, I would say so. But again, I'm not a world-leading child psychologist. I'm just a construction worker. So what do I know?
By the way, we need this door hung.
That's right. But on that transgender note, Idaho has just passed a law criminalizing gender-affirming care.
Criminalizing?
Criminalizing for minors, I believe.
Oh, okay.
So under 18?
And
No, for people that work in cinder mines.
and Iowa.
Iowa?
I'm gonna sneeze.
Do it on air. That's going to be fun.
Nothing better than the only thing better than sneezing on air is
Showing pictures and
videos.
stuff. Yeah.
And Iowa has just banned trans athletes from competing in state events.
I agree with that one. And
Yeah.
You know who else agrees with that one?
everyone.
No. No. The Olympian that's a woman. What's her? Kylie Jenner?
Kylie Jenner,
Is
Caitlyn Jenner.
Jenner?
Caitlyn Jenner.
That was fun watching.
His name was Steve Jenner or something. I don't know.
Bruce.
Bruce, that's it. He's an Olympian, right?
Yeah.
He flat out said, or she, sorry,
She.
Caitlyn,
Mm-hmm.
said, no, that's not right.
She, who is a trans
woman.
Isn't that
said that we shouldn't be doing that.
Isn't that funny though that everyone's like, oh, they shouldn't do that, but when we talk about gender reassignment surgery, people are like, oh,
Well,
I don't know.
maybe.
Yeah.
We don't want him throwing the javelin in the same group.
Like personally, I would much rather that trans women compete with women than reassign children's genders, but it seems like one is much more clear. I don't know.
If they want to put any effort into this at all, there's already a term for it, and they just need to throw it in there. You have men's basketball, women's basketball, and co-ed.
Yeah.
Have a co-ed league. I'll bet you it might attract some serious attention. I mean, high school level,
Well, they
pro
just did
level,
that.
everything.
They just did that last Olympics. Did you see that?
No.
They had the first ever 800 relay or 1200. Or I can't remember how many yards, but it was a co-ed relay. So you had 2 male runners, 2 female, and you could do them in any order that you wanted. And
Let me guess.
the one team did their female runner last and their male runner last, and they both hit the last lap at the same time. They both grabbed the baton at the same time. Or no, I think the female was like half a track ahead of the male, and she was booking it.
Yeah.
And the announcers are like, she's really far ahead. She might. Oh no,
wait.
and the guys just caught the guys flew by her, and women are incredible athletes. I'm not saying anything about that, but I thought that was like a pin in the whatever of the argument that men and women should compete in certain events.
An obvious sign
it was
that
just
maybe
so
they shouldn't.
obvious. These were peak women. They were incredible. That when I was watching them, I was like, man, I couldn't run that fast for 100 yards, But the men just blew them away. And And we already know that. You look at the stats.
Well,
like-
I was just going to give you one, okay?
Yeah.
So the fastest man versus the fastest woman in the world.
Yeah.
And I'm going to just say this. Hopefully everyone knows, but when it comes to track and running, it is like milliseconds. Like
Yeah.
a tenth of a second is like you killed it or something. You know?
Right.
The current men's world record is 9.58 seconds. This is for the 100 meters.
Yeah.
9.58 seconds by Usain Bolt.
Yeah.
Right. The fastest woman 100 meters is Marion Jones, 10.7 seconds.
Yeah.
That's over a second behind,
Yeah.
which I know is like, I mean, it takes me 16 seconds just to get out of the chair. But but what I'm saying is that is like forever when it comes to that sport.
Yeah.
An entire
100
second.
meters a second is the difference between first and last place.
The difference
with
between
6 racers.
a zombie getting you or not.
Mm-hmm. Or a lion.
Yeah.
A bear.
But anyways, I also heard a story, and I don't have the numbers on this, but this idea of like there's this high school athlete out there that literally is running the same speeds as the female professionals.
Well, it was something I brought up a while back that what they were saying is that the fastest female, what you were just saying, there are actually like, I can't remember the exact number, but maybe 200 high school age boys that can run that time.
Right.
Like, so it's definitely a different playing field, like in a lot of ways. Now, I'm surprised that women haven't just been like, no, we're not going to compete.
What happened
Like-
to women's rights?
Yeah, like what happened to being a feminist?
Yeah, well, I mean, during
It's
the
not
Olympics,
cool.
we had, was it a trans woman swimmer that was wasting everybody else, and some of the female athletes were upset about it.
Yeah, and I don't get it. I don't get why that trans person wants to do it. Like, why would I don't want to go compete with 5-year-olds
Oh,
in
you
a
don't?
in a race? Like, you know what I
Don't
mean?
you?
Like,
Who doesn't?
to what? Feel better about myself?
I go to
Like,
the trampoline park and play dodgeball with 5-year-olds all the time. Freaking, they waste me.
and what it comes and what it comes down to is, isn't this like this person seeking validation for who they are, what they believe their life is about, and like if they can not only transition but also compete with that gender, it like more affirmation for them. But
But that's just your mental stability privilege.
men- mental stability
You have
privilege.
the privilege of being mentally
I don't.
stable.
And-
I don't know.
And again,
I
I
don't
don't
know.
want anyone to feel like I'm railing on transgender people. I'm not. I'm talking about issues that affect not just them. Like
Yeah.
they're not. We talk about, oh, the transgenders are competing. Well, what about all the women? Like
Right.
don't they have a voice? Aren't they important? We went straight from like women's rights to transgender rights,
Yeah.
which in this case I think kind of muddies over or overturns those women's rights. I don't know.
It does, because there are a lot of women speaking out against. There are a lot of women speaking out against transgender athletes competing with their new gender.
But they're all on Joe
individuals.
Rogan's podcast and they've been canceled.
Yeah,
So
Oh, there you go. Anyway, the January 6th committee
oh god.
has decided that Trump can be legally, criminally something.
Prosecuted
Criminally prosecuted.
as an individual,
They're,
right?
they're saying what he did was criminal. Now, they
Right.
haven't released any further evidence from before, but that's where that's sitting now. So,
Are they saying that what he did was criminal, or are they just saying that people can now criminally prosecute him for what he did?
no, that's already been said by a judge. They had this January 6th committee, which, remember, they impeached Trump. They did all these investigations, and then he was acquitted or whatever. But then the Congress passed a new committee to investigate him again.
Yeah.
And they're claiming that he is criminal. It was criminal what he did.
Right. So I have a joke for you guys.
Okay.
The January 6th committee. That's the punchline.
Oh,
Freaking joke.
why do you say
Good
that?
joke.
Because it's
That's
a
a good
bunch of
joke.
people that they just put together to basically come to a conclusion that should be decided upon in the court of law of your peers.
Yeah.
How can they just go, you, and you, go talk in this room and tell us if he did something criminal? No, that's called Salem witch trials. Like,
Yeah, it's strange. I don't know why they didn't assign a prosecutor, because that's what they did with the whole Ukraine
because it's a charade, in my
thing.
opinion.
You think it's
I
a
think
charade?
I think that they're trying to set it up so that if Trump wants to run again, and I don't know if he is or not, I don't even know, but if he wanted to, they have many, many grounds to prove, like, oh, what you did was criminal.
Yeah.
This guy is a blah. He is a do, and just keep him out of there. And I don't get it all, but it's very apparent to me that there's a large group of people that don't want him in. And honestly, I don't even know if I want him in again. But I think we need some major changes in the government, and I don't know if going back to people that have been president is the right answer. I think most people, and this is why initially we started this podcast, is because it's like, this is a joke. We need to get rid of the party system and get some people in place that like actually want to serve the country.
Yeah.
Like, I know it's easy to say all this stuff, but like George Washington didn't really want to be the president, but he did out of duty and out of duty. That was funny, huh? He did it because he wanted to,
Yeah.
and not because he wanted to. It was duty. He felt like he had to, and he I don't even know how else to say other than duty.
Well,
duty.
really what it was humility. Like,
Yeah.
like the leader has humility, and they're saying Abraham Lincoln was a great example. He had a partner in his law firm, and the day before he was inaugurated, he like went and met with his partner, cleaned off his desk, and his partner was like, your desk will be here in 4 years. Like, he was fully planning on going back to work
Right.
when he was done being president, and he was just going to be president to do his duty for his country.
Not being a senator for 50 years and
Right.
having a net worth of hundreds of millions of dollars by the end.
Exactly. Like, it was like a duty that someone did.
Right.
And that really, what you said about Trump, that's what really killed him for me is when in the first round, Trump was very much like, I don't care. I don't care what you think. I'm just going to say what I'm going to do. These are the policies I'm going
Right.
to do. I don't care. And really, like, leading up to the election, my impression was he didn't care if he won or lose. And actually that he assumed he was going to lose.
Right.
He almost seemed as surprised as I was when he won. But the second time around, it was like,
Political.
it was political, and it was like, oh, they cheated. And it was like, oh, now you do care if you win or lose.
Yeah.
And now it's just like, I don't like it.
I just think that we need to get away from the divisiveness and come together on what we can agree on and get back to some fundamentals. We can grow from there for sure, but we need to get back to the fundamentals of things. And like
So-
us arguing over COVID and arguing over transgender it does nothing for the fact that gas prices are the way they are and Russia's doing what they're doing.
Yeah.
Like, can we get down to some basics here?
We're going to jump out of politics to
Thank
give you a
God.
break because the world's first pig heart transplant into a human being has failed.
Oh, dang it.
Yeah.
How?
But he lived 2 months.
With a pig heart?
Jeff, they took a heart out of a pig and put it in a human.
But I swear I heard this story in 1987.
Nope, it just happened in January, and now he's dead.
Pig heart transplants were not a real thing
I don't think so.
until January.
maybe in
Maybe I read a book.
maybe
Why did
I'm
he
just
die?
kidding. I don't know how to
Why did he
read.
die? Car accident?
they said that
COVID.
they said that he was doing well for 2 months and then drastically declined within like 48 hours and died.
He was
So-
he could not stop eating. He was sniffing out
He was
drugs.
rolling around in the mud.
He kept going outside, rolling in the mud, and he drowned in the mud. This isn't funny.
Yeah, but they didn't give details. Like, I would like to know, like, was he actually, like, living on his own, or was he in the hospital the whole
In a
time?
coma.
Yeah, like no, they said he was with it. He was talking to family and stuff like that.
This guy got it because he didn't qualify for a human heart, right? Like he was
Exactly.
a heavy smoker or something like that.
He didn't qualify for whatever reason, and so they said, "There's this pig heart thing we can try," and he was like, "Yeah, I'll try anything," because he was about to die, and so in theory he gained 2 months of living, but
Is he living?
I don't know.
You know what I mean?
I don't know. That it'd all be interesting to know, but that would be really important, wouldn't it? Like if we could grow pigs that were just apparently they're like special pigs that grow in like a bubble that doesn't have germs and stuff.
Probably why.
Yeah, it could be.
A
As soon
pig
as-
without germs? That's why he died. That's not a pig at all.
It's just a massive lump of flesh.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how that works, but it's sad but also kind of exciting and
I'm just
a little
telling you,
horrifying.
I thought this happened decades ago.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That they like
Transplanted a pig heart into a human.
Oh, I don't know. I thought they said it was the first one.
Maybe it was. I don't know.
Oh.
Let's talk about politics again.
We
Just kidding, don't.
we actually are going
Son
to.
of a...
So Russia has invaded Ukraine, and they're bombing hospitals, all kinds of mess going on there. We've
They're
all
putting-
seen what's going on.
They're putting the iron fist down on that Ukraine. I just thought of that. Was that good?
That was good.
They're
That was a good one.
they're putting the iron fist down. Why is Russia invading now?
Still? Why are they still invading, or in general? Why are
In
they-
general, why did they invade Ukraine?
Because he's trying to get the band back together.
He's trying to put the Soviet Union
Yeah.
back together.
That's what I think. He's going to die. He wants to be known for something. That's why I get worried about nuclear war.
So he's getting old. He's like, I'm bringing the Soviet Union back.
He was sitting down with Kim Jong Il or something. He's like, "You remember when we were the USSR? Remember when we were the Soviet Union? Remember how cool that was?" He's like,
Remember
"Yeah." He's like, "I should do
Let's
that,
do
huh?"
again.
It's like, "Pass me that blunt." I don't know, dude.
Dennis
I don't know
Rodman
what he's
passed it to
doing.
him.
You don't know? You don't
No.
care?
I don't know either. He hasn't said what he wants to do. I mean, it's all speculation, right? We don't.
Well, he has said the whole time, and he is saying now that he will stop all military operations in Ukraine, pull out of Ukraine, if Ukraine will do, I think it was 3 things. One of them was amend their constitution to never join NATO,
The second one to say sorry.
say they're sorry, and
Life supply of cotton.
and it was like one other thing. It was pretty much like agree to never join NATO or the European Union and we'll pull out. I kind of feel like those aren't crazy demands.
Why?
I mean, were they planning on joining any of those anyway?
Yeah, I think that they were from my understanding, they were taking steps towards joining NATO.
And maybe that's
If
why
they
he's
haven't
invading?
That's
thus
why, yeah.
far, then yes, they probably were planning on it.
Yeah, and I'm not saying, obviously this big country's bullying you. They should stand up for themselves. But that doesn't seem like a huge ask to me because in theory, joining NATO and the European Union gives them protection against Russia. That's the whole point. But if Russia says we're not going to attack you as long as you don't do this,
Yeah, but no, there's a difference. Militarily attack them. They will consistently keep attacking them until they have a puppet government there that does whatever Russia wants.
maybe they just need to outlast Putin. Like Putin's going to die eventually.
Yeah, I think it'll be a nightmare. I really think that one way it was put is this is their 1776. They have an opportunity right now to be an independent country. And if they fall under what Russia's saying right now, it's not going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
They're not going to be their own country. They can't do what they want. They're just going to be under the thumb of Russia all the time. Even if Russia withdraws a little and doesn't do anything to them for decades or whatever, they're always going to be there to be like, well, don't do anything we don't like. Because remember
what
2022?
happened
Yeah,
last
but
time?
what's worse, having them be like that how they have been, or having them actually be occupying the country and have their own government installed there?
Well, I truly, I think that it's better to fight and have lost.
than never to
Yeah.
have loved.
Than
it
never
all.
had to have. I never said it would be easy.
You only said.
I only
it would be worth
said I'm putting my tanks right here,
it. You're putting your tanks.
right here.
No, the reason I ask is because have you guys ever seen a documentary called
Short circuit.
Trumbo.
The Untold History of the United States?
No.
It's on Netflix, which I guess you don't have Netflix, but
So now it's told.
it's really interesting because they're talking in there about the Cold War and post Cold War stuff. And I can't remember if it was Gorbachev or whoever, but I think it was Bush, the first George Bush, who was president.
Yeah.
And they started this thing called Star Wars, which was like our modern day Space Force, pretty much. They were gonna like put satellites in the sky that could shoot things down, and Russia was really upset about it. They were like, "Oh, you could shoot missiles at us from space," and they had all this problems going on. Apparently, there was a couple conversations between the Russian leader and the United States, where Russia said, if you will stop Star Wars, we will start drawing down our nuclear weapons down to nothing.
And look how that worked out.
We didn't do it.
Oh.
All they were asking is that we stop this stupid program that was going nowhere and went nowhere, and we put billions of dollars into it, and it was a joke.
Are you talking about Project Paperclip?
I don't know what it was called. It was called Star Wars. They called it Star
Are
Wars.
you sure?
I'm positive.
Okay, I believe you.
Anyway, I thought
Walt
that was
Disney in
interesting.
charge of it?
I thought that was interesting, and I thought could there be this we had this Cold War, it was terrible, Russia was terrible, but could we have this residual phobia of Russia that makes us act irrationally toward them? And that's why we're getting into all this stuff, because we've had all these missiles over there in Eastern Europe. Trump came in and famously said, we shouldn't be protecting Europe. We should be pulling out of there.
Yeah.
And Russia obviously liked that. And we think, oh, yeah, Russia liked that because they want to invade Europe. But do they really? That's what I'm asking. You don't care?
I just don't know. It's too much
I don't-
speculation to me.
Yeah.
Here's something I do know is that of what's happening right now, and I heard someone say this on the radio. I can't remember what I was listening to or watching, but they basically said, what is the last thing that Russia wants? Truly. They do not want to mess with the United States.
Yeah,
That's the last thing that they want.
right. And-
So why, I don't know. It confuses the whole thing.
Well, I think because they don't want all the missiles in Eastern Europe, right? And Ukraine isn't part of NATO. We've famously come out and said we're not going to do anything other than all this financial stuff, which again could turn into something worse.
I don't buy that, though. Who cares if there's missiles on the border of Russia?
Well, we cared when they were in
No.
Cuba.
Yeah, because the technology at the time, you had to be close in order to hit them. We can do all the warfare from the United States mainland and blow the shit out of Russia.
Yeah, but it's
Doesn't matter how close the missiles are.
yeah. I would say it does because that's a lot less response time. They can see a missile coming from around the world and have several minutes. If it's coming from 1,000 miles away, that's
But we've got. I mean, I don't think that's the reason. And if it is, he's not in tune with what's going on because they've got submarines that have nuclear missiles in them around anywhere within range of them.
Yeah.
And who cares if it's the defense on missiles? It doesn't matter if it comes from 1,000 miles away or 20 miles away.
yeah.
It's the same defense. You're not going to blow them apart when they're 940 miles away. You're going to blow them apart when they're 10 miles away. You know what I mean? I don't buy this idea of the Cold War. It's like the Cold War was so long ago that you had to have missiles close by in order to hit their targets.
Yeah.
You just don't need that anymore.
So it doesn't matter.
No, and who cares if it's in Ukraine? We've got them all over in Germany and all over in Poland and in Japan and all over the place. We've got, what do they call those? they have a name for it. The U.S. government is the only military that has like forward operating bases, and we're global.
Yeah.
Most militaries are not global. We're the only ones
Yeah.
that have bases set up in all these other countries. Russia doesn't have a base in, you know,
Africa.
Yeah, and when they tried to, we killed them. No, I'm just kidding. When they tried to get one in Cuba, that's probably why. That's probably more why they stomped it out in Cuba, not because of the missiles, but because they don't want Russia having a base in Cuba. Anyway,
Yeah, maybe. Why now though? Like, why would he? Did he really just snap and go crazy, or is it because our president can't finish sentences sometimes, or is it because our country is maybe more divided than it's been in a long time, and the economy's weak? And when I say weak, I mean bacon is like up 50%. If you haven't noticed,
oh, bacon's strong, man.
Pineapples are
Yeah.
down though.
pineapples are down.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's
Homegrown.
because they're using bubble pigs for their bacon.
bubble bacon pigs
Yeah.
No, do you guys do a lot of shopping though?
all the
Like-
time.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you had to have noticed stuff is way up.
Yeah, I looked at bacon yesterday. The cheapest bacon I could find was like $3.80, and it's usually like a couple bucks.
Yeah. don't
380.
really-
Oh no,
Oh, it's the cheapest, crappiest bacon you can find.
yeah. Well, the bacon I usually buy is thick cut peppered bacon.
From a bubble pig. I know.
Yeah, and it used to be like $5.99.
Uh-huh.
Like more than a year ago, it was up to like $9. It's like $14-15 now.
Okay. There's an interesting phenomenon I've noticed while I've been watching these price hikes. There's groups that are behind. So if my grocery store got a shipment of bacon and they haven't sold out of it yet, they're keeping it at that price. But when they get the next shipment in, then the price will go up.
Yeah.
So apparently my bacon's still good. I think it was like $4.
No, because my bacon's been way up for weeks and weeks.
I bought it literally yesterday.
Did you?
Hmm. And it's the cheapest. I don't want to say Bar S, but
Yeah.
Hormel maybe.
Yeah, that's like not even bacon. That's
Oh,
like
maybe
the whole
maybe I'm
the
fine
whole
then.
package cooks down to like a half a thing.
I buy it for bacon bits.
Oh, okay.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah. That's pretty much what you get out of it.
Hmm.
But anyway, this Russian war thing's getting crazy. Russia's talking about disconnecting their half of the space station and stranding our American astronaut up there. It's getting messed up.
Who's saying that?
The leader, like the head of NASA for Russia, is saying that's what they're going to do.
Oh, did Elon Musk make a comment about that?
No, but
He should have.
I'm surprised he hasn't said like, "Oh, we'll go get him with our new
Yeah, we'll go get him.
robot."
Our Starlink satellites have rescue capabilities.
Oh, let me just flip around that Tesla and we'll pick him up
Right.
on the way back.
Yeah.
And Tesla, that you bring that up, people have been calling on Elon Musk to shut down all the Teslas in Russia.
Why? It's probably an intelligence operation at this point.
What do you mean by that? Why are you eating during a podcast?
I'm hungry.
There's food. And it has
At least it's
bacon.
not like potato chips or something.
What-
Listener, call in now if you can hear me eating.
No, are you okay with that though?
with
With Elon Musk shutting down all the Teslas
No,
in
I don't
Russia?
think he should. What I'm saying is, I
it's
bet you
surveillance.
they've got cameras, they've got data collections all over the place, microphones, everything. You have 1,000 Teslas in a place that you want to spy on. Done. It's like a
Yeah.
smartphone in your pocket. Just give it to all the people.
He wouldn't do it because he said he wouldn't shut down the Starlink.
It's a private thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, he wouldn't shut down the Russia propaganda in Ukraine or something like that.
See, what worries me though is that Elon Musk didn't come out and say we can't shut down your Tesla.
Of course they can shut it
Of
down.
course they can.
I know, and isn't that ridiculous?
I don't have a Tesla.
You could be driving a car and they could just shut it down.
No, they could turn it and drive you into a effing ditch that pours sewage from a freaking nuclear power plant. They can do whatever they want.
Isn't
Bubble pig
that
plant.
scary? Like, I don't know.
It is a little bit. It it increases your dependence for sure on, you can't, with an old 1989 Suburban, not even a EMP is going to negatively impact that thing because it's like all analog, everything.
Yeah. But they could just shut a car down. I don't know. I think that's crazy.
But let me tell you this. They look awesome.
The Teslas?
Oh, they're such a cool looking car, right? I don't care if he drive you into a ditch. But it looks so cool.
You go down that ditch in style.
Hell yeah.
They are cool. The Holy Spirit was going to buy one, though.
should've.
And I guess he was looking into it. And the batteries don't last quite as long as they'd hoped. And they're freaking expensive. They're like almost as expensive as the car to replace.
Well, it basically is the car.
Yeah.
It'd be like, oh, my car's engine's pretty pricey.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, I know.
Yeah, but instead of 4,000 or 5,000 for an engine, it's like 35,000 for a battery. It's like
4 or
crazy.
5,000 for an engine?
Yeah,
No.
for an engine
disagree.
replacement.
Yeah.
I
had a
6 to 8.
Yeah, that's more like it.
Yeah,
I had a Hyundai, and they wanted to replace the engine for like $8,000, and I'm like, this car's not worth $8,000.
yeah. I've got a good mechanic, so. Well, I don't know why. I'm waiting for the car that's just like the bare bones.
A horse.
Like when I pull out my electric drill,
Uh-huh.
there's no computer that's like testing my mood and telling me which way to go or where to put the screw.
Yeah.
You just push on the throttle and it goes. So I'm waiting for that electric car so that they can't just shut me down when I want to take a country over.
DeWalt, I hope you're listening.
Yeah, DeWalt, make me an electric. Maybe I should just make one out of like 30 DeWalt drills. And
They
like
do have a
when
bike.
I push the throttle, it pulls little strings that pull all the triggers that make the wheels go.
Literally from the drills.
No,
not
they
just the
have one.
batteries.
They have one.
Do they?
They really do. It's like it's a drill in the back, like behind you, but it's a bike. It's
Yeah.
a bicycle. And so when you pull the throttle, it pulls the trigger, and the trigger spins the rear wheel.
Yeah.
And it's pretty peppy.
I saw a guy put a Milwaukee battery on his kid's Power Wheel,
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
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 and it was like almost did a wheelie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the power.
So Putin's invading. We don't know why. Gas is going crazy.
Insane.
Bacon is going crazy.
We'll
Except
let this
Jeff's
be a time
bacon.
capsule. Right now, gas is like $4.30. It jumped up from a 4 to 4.30 like
But-
overnight.
This is in Utah. My wife's
Yeah,
in
Utah County.
My wife's in LA right now. She said it's $7.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
California is way crazy.
Yeah. Remember a few weeks back, I was in California and texted you guys. I'm like, look at California's gas, and it was like $5.
Yeah.
And that was crazy. And that was long before any Ukraine stuff was going
Yeah.
on.
I heard it was pushing $8.
Yeah.
My wife's not driving around, so she's not like at the gas stations, but
And it's likely, I think, to go higher. There's no way we've actually felt like any of the sanctions or any of the stuff we're doing. There's no way.
It's too soon.
Yeah. We just barely cut off Russia from oil and gas went up. It wasn't like,
it took like a week to cut them off from vodka.
yeah.
So,
And diamonds, apparently.
oh really? De Beers is like
I guess we're not, I guess they're pretty
So we're not
much.
shipping any Absolute to Russia.
no Absolute, no Grey Goose, no plastic bottle garbage that tastes like hairspray.
I think they were saying they're pretty much going to full blockade or embargo or whatever. Like they're gonna stop importing everything from Russia.
So I told you that I have a friend that's in Russia. She's Russian. It's a friend of a friend kind of thing, but I've talked to her quite a bit. She flew out of Russia on the last day that they were allowing flights out of Russia
really?
into Africa. She got into Africa, which apparently they don't have to have visas and stuff to get in there. Anyways, so she's in Africa right now and safe, basically. But
Yeah.
she was like,
Jeez.
she had an apartment, which means it's like New York apartments where you own them.
Mm-hmm.
So she had a condo, basically, or an apartment.
In Russia?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And she still owns it. She left a car there. She left all her belongings. They packed suitcases and got the F out of there.
Oh.
Because
She turned off her alarm clock.
probably not.
Did she drink
But-
all the milk?
Probably not.
It's gonna be bad.
What
Well,
else? What else are you worried about?
The beans in the fridge.
Yeah, they're probably bad. But she said that she didn't care. She's like, I just have to get out. She has
Yeah.
like 3 little kids,
Mhm.
and she doesn't have a husband. She's single, and she's like, I just have to get out of this country. She saw
Yeah.
what was coming. And for her, Ukraine basically was like Russia. And for her future, she felt that getting to Ukraine and being able to live in Ukraine was an opportunity to live free.
Wait, she lives in Ukraine.
No,
No,
she lives
was
in Russia.
planning on going.
Oh, she
But-
wanted to move to Ukraine.
And so
Thought
when
about
she
it.
saw that they were invading, that's why she's like, this was my plan, this was my hope, is to that like possibly I could go there and live free and like be religious in the way I want to and all this stuff. And so when she saw that getting messed up, she's like, I'm out of here.
Out of Dodge.
Yeah.
And I think ultimately she's gonna end up here. But it's tricky right now.
Huh. Yeah, it's crazy over there.
Have there been any attacks on Russia at all from Ukraine or anywhere else?
No, I
They
don't.
don't have the power to go on offense.
Yeah, well, not necessarily. They don't have the power. I think they don't want to do that because they don't. Obviously, attack on Russia would be
Yeah.
more severe
Mm-hmm.
because right now they're trying to gently take the country over. Kind of my impression. They're like,
Special military operation, is that what Putin keeps saying?
yeah, well, it's just like they're moving slow. They're not trying to like obliterate. But if they started like attacking Russia, they would just be like, oh, we're going to blow you up just like we would with North Korea.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. It sucks. And, God be with those Ukrainians and Russians, all the people that are dying. I mean, Russians are dying too, who probably don't want to be there, don't know why they're there. It's a sucky thing. So have you guys seen the new Batman?
Wow. Wow, I just got whiplash from that
Ouch.
transition.
You guys know a good chiropractor? That one hurt my neck.
Going to see it this afternoon.
Oh, are you?
the
for the first time.
the last one I saw had Matt Damon in it, I think. What's his name?
Matt Damon.
Ben Affleck?
Ben
Ben
Affleck.
Affleck?
Yeah.
He's like Matt Damon, right?
Matt Damon.
Yeah, they're the same.
I just
I
remember.
think that was the last one I saw.
Yeah, I went and saw it because Beagle invited me.
Uh-huh.
He didn't invite any of you because it's a secret
didn't?
club to. He didn't invite you.
Is the secret club just you and Beagle?
It's me and Beagle and Mike apparently.
Uh-huh.
But when I got in the theater with him, I was like, "Hey Beagle, do you still have my number blocked? Because I tried to text you that I was going to be a little late." And he's like, "Yeah," and he laughs. So we're all still blocked from
So
Beagle's
you're,
number.
but you're in the secret club,
I mean, it's not much of a secret
and the
anymore,
members of the
just so
secret
you-
No.
club are blocked by the founding member.
I just outed it. No, but
Sounds like Russia.
he was like. He was like, "Oh, I should have invited more people," and I was like, "Yeah, why didn't you?" He's like, "Oh, I don't know." So I said,
Come on, Beagle.
I thought it was a secret club. Anyway, it was pretty good. I don't think it was.
Wait, what was pretty good? Beagle blocking everyone or
Batman.
the movie? Oh, okay. Just wondering.
It wasn't as good as The Dark Knight. Everyone's like, "Oh, it's Dark Knight level." It wasn't.
No, it can't be as good as The Dark Knight.
It's like it's really long and really
It was
slow
almost 3 hours.
and really dark. Like they turned the
Goth.
exposure down to like 15% the whole time.
The window tint was lowered.
The window tint, everything's through. Like, put sunglasses on, watch The Dark Knight in slow motion, and that's pretty much what it was.
And I heard that the Bruce Wayne, he wasn't as good of a Bruce Wayne as you would anticipate.
Yeah, I didn't mind him. It was pretty good, but it was worth seeing. Worth seeing
Yeah,
in
I'm
the
gonna
theater.
go see it. Did
Yeah.
you like Andy Serkis as
Alfred.
Alfred?
I thought he did good.
I
Yeah,
love Andy Serkis, and when I first heard Andy Serkis was Alfred, I was like, why would you cast someone who would be a better Batman
yeah.
as Alfred?
He could be like an old Batman, an old South African Batman,
He's
Sorry,
just-
from where?
or was it New Zealand? I can't remember.
New Sealand?
New Zealand
New
New
Zealand for-
Sealand.
or South Africa.
AFRE.
I love Andy Serkis. That's why I ask. I'm just excited to see him on the screen, and in human form,
Yeah.
and not monkey or golem or ape or all the other animals that he's played.
So is this animated?
Yeah.
Oh, good. I'll probably see it then.
There you go. So before we close, I got one more little segment. This segment is called Phil Cracks the AI, which we're going to do an experiment. You guys ready for this? And we'll talk about it
Should
on
I scoot over?
Futures podcasts. So I'm going to take out an item that Google
Should I
doesn't
close my eyes and do I need to
Google
drop
doesn't
trout?
know what it is, and actually we need to like put a little piece of tape over my camera here on the laptop. Boop.
I don't understand. You're serious about this? What's
Yeah.
happening?
So I'm being a little.
Is this a libertarian paranoid test?
Is this 1984?
Is that what it's called?
I don't know.
I just came up with it in my mind. But I'm going to show you guys an object.
Uh huh.
Okay? You're not going to say anything about it.
Okay.
We're all looking at this object.
Keep your pants on.
This.
Turn your phone over.
Yeah. Oh, turn your phones over.
No, I got it covered.
Okay.
Don't worry. Keep your pants on.
I'm showing you an object. We haven't said anything out loud. I didn't talk about this before.
The listeners don't know what it is.
So the microphones on the listeners probably like, what in the F is going on?
I don't understand. What if I pulled an object
This-
out too?
This builds the intensity.
So-
them not knowing what it is.
So
I'll show you yours if you show me mine.
So what I'm getting at, a few weeks back we were talking, I think with the Messing with Mormons guys, about like whether or not Google like could read your mind. And I'm literally doing an experiment to see if Google or Apple or whoever can read our mind. So we're all very clearly, we have this thing in our mind, right?
Yes.
And
On Jeff's mind.
And is it safe to say that we haven't seen any ads about this thing
no.
in the last 3 months?
They don't put ads like this on animated shows, so no.
Exactly. So all we're doing is thinking about this. All our
It's
cameras are covered in the room.
But how many smart devices do we have in here?
1,
4
2,
that we
3,
know of.
4.
5.
So what I'm getting at.
3, 5.
3
Yeah,
phones
5.
and 2.
Are we not smart devices?
Okay, let's put them away.
No.
Put them
Oh,
away.
okay, sorry.
So, what I'm getting at is if any of the three of us see ads within the next week, it would
this thing.
it would be highly suspicious, right? Like
yeah,
Because
especially
this thing is something I never see ads for.
you
yeah.
never see ads for it. So
Right.
if you saw something like this in an ad, then Google is either literally reading our mind or their microphones are so advanced that they're bouncing radar in the room and like
Determining
seeing
what it is
the
you're
room.
holding.
I've
Yeah.
actually heard of that before, by
Right.
the way. But I think we're pretty safe on this one, mostly because we lined the studio with lead.
Yeah.
Remember when we did that?
Oh yeah, and there's a Faraday cage over it.
Uh-huh. Jason Faraday from high school.
Is hugging the studio.
Anyways,
Anyway, so we'll report back to you on that whether
Return
or
and
not
report next
whether
week.
or not Google. It's a temple thing. That's what he's.
oh. See how I'm not laughing? It's because I was never invited.
We'll cut that out. And,
It's fine. We'll keep it.
we'll keep it. Anyway, so we'll report back to you and see if Google actually read our minds or Apple. Wait, I guess we all have Apple devices.
They're all
So in
Apple
theory,
devices.
it could be Google, Apple, Facebook, TikTok, whatever we're plugged into on our phones.
I just downloaded the Putin app.
Yeah.
Could be that.
So anyway, thanks for being with us on the American Forked podcast. If you want to learn more about us, check out our website, AmericanForked.com.
But I have a question. Did we fix anything?
Did we
Did
fix
we
it?
fix America today?
Yeah.
No, I don't think we
Oh,
did.
no?
No.
Oh.
Was that a no? So
Jeff-
it's going to be a clear yes or no.
Jeff
by the
hated
end of-
this whole episode, so
Yeah.
it's a no. I think no.
I had to poop during it, so
Yeah.
like right now I
Maybe-
still have to poop.
Maybe that's why.
Sorry, I
glad-
should do that
I'm
before.
glad
Not-
the desire
nothing
to go
is
away
interesting
didn't
if
go
you
away.
have to poop.
Yeah, I need to get out of here.
Okay. See ya.
Bye.
American Fork.